How does somebody get ahead financially if they are in a really poor starting place? Like, really low starting place. Like, I was thinking about this, because I have a drive and a desire to help young entrepreneurs and aspiring entrepreneurs level up, get to the money, get to the bag, right? Build a business, make an income. I was born in a third world country, Ukraine. Immigrated to America when I was 3 years old. My mom, single mom, was on welfare for the first couple of years here in America. Then my mom eventually met and married my stepdad. And he was blue collar mechanic, airplane mechanic, Boeing. And we kind of, just over time through consistency, I would say elevated to lower middle class, mid-middle class. So, and I had 3 younger siblings. They had 3 kids. So we had a family of 4 kids on a single income. My dad was the breadwinner. So I grew up in a family where that was a socioeconomic status. And I was thinking about it, I'm at where I'm at now in my mid-30s. It's been many, many, many years since I was 13, 14 years old and thinking about how do I become rich, right? And I've been replaying my life and really looking for the distinct moments when there was a big leap or step forward, or seasons in my life where there was a lot of progress. Because the question I've been asking myself is that I now, with everything that I know, everything that I've done, everything that I'm doing, the advice that I would give somebody like me, or somebody who is a little bit lower down the ladder of success than me, is radically different than what would work for somebody who's at square one. Like 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24. In that area, if you're just stepping your foot on the entrepreneurial path, right? Because the advice and the things and the strategies that work at my level now, where I'm at, right, which is on average $50,000 to $100,000 a month. These same things, that the same advice does not apply to somebody who's 18 years old and has never made an entrepreneurial dollar, maybe mowed lawns or sold lemonade or something. Or at least that's my perception. Initially thinking about it, I'm like, because recently I've had some younger people ask me the question, where do I start? Or they ask me, what do you do, man? How do you make your money? And I answer, I have a marketing company. Well, what do you mean by marketing? Well, we do this. We do lead generation in the real estate industry. Did you always do that? No, I was a consultant for years in marketing and business development before that. And, but it was always some kind of marketing in some kind of way. But though I was a project engineer for a couple of years with a day job in my early 20s. So I found myself stumped to answer the question, Andre, how can I do what you did? Where do I start? Because, where the mind first goes is like, well, you got to read these books. You got to know these skills. Then you got to do these things. And then I started and I couldn't answer the question well right there on the spot, which is unusual for me. And so I got to thinking about it. Where does Andre at 18 years old start? Now, I was already on the entrepreneurial path well by 18, but where does Andre at 18 start? And here is what it boils down to. Knowledge, skill, work ethic, networking. Those are the core four. Your knowledge, turn knowledge into skill. Okay? Then you have to have a work ethic. That's about the only thing you can control is how hard you're willing to work. And then also network. Networking, I think, is the one that everybody always talks about that's really sexy. However, networking without the prior three is useless, I think, especially over the long run, because you'll just be found out. So first, knowledge. And by knowledge, I mean domain knowledge. Start whatever area that it is that interests you in business or in entrepreneurship. You need to start acquiring domain knowledge of the domain, of that world, that sub-universe. And so if you want to be an entrepreneur and make your own way financially, you have to understand the basics of things, just the simple basics of things like sales, marketing, customer service and fulfillment, services and products, service and product design, right? Financial management, taxes, operational management, okay? You need to understand basics like that. Then within each one of those pillars, there's 2 to 3 really important things, right? Like within marketing, how to make an offer, how to get your message in front of the right people. With sales, right? What's your sales process? Again, what's your offer? So many different there's so many different things, and you need domain knowledge. You need to understand that. Then you need domain knowledge of the specific business niche that you're going to play in. So for example, my current marketing company, our exclusive focus is helping real estate agents get more signed listings. So for me, that subdomain is real estate. Does that make sense? Are you with me? The industry, the niche. I have to understand that well. Or just always be understanding it, always be learning about it, always keep my thumb on the pulse. So that's domain knowledge, or just knowledge. And then you need skill. You need to be able to solve some sort of a problem and deliver some sort of a result in that domain, in your subdomain, in your niche, in your category. For me, it's generating listing leads, phone calls, and listing appointments to real estate agents. So when you're acquiring general domain knowledge, and let's say you're reading about marketing and sales, if you really want to cut down time, try to apply while you are acquiring domain and subdomain knowledge, try to apply it immediately to skill. Meaning when you're learning about marketing or sales, try to immediately apply it to how am I going to use this information to get the result or the outcome for my niche, my subdomain. So if I'm reading a book hypothetically on marketing, not only am I reading it through the lens of being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, but I'm also reading it through the lens of how do I also apply these principles or tactics that I'm learning to helping real estate agents get more listing leads, listing phone calls, and listing appointments. And then you need to go apply that and practice those ideas, that knowledge, so that it's actual skill. You don't have a skill until you've applied knowledge and produced a result with it. So if you're studying knowledge about how to build landing pages and funnels, you don't have a skill until you've built some landing pages and funnels that work on the internet, right? If you're studying to get knowledge and subdomain knowledge about how to do lead generation in an industry or lead generation in general, You don't have a skill until you've generated some leads. You with me? And then how skillful you become is going to be dependent upon the third thing, work ethic. How much focused work time do you put in to acquiring knowledge, translating knowledge to skill, and then refining the skill to get really bloody good at delivering the outcome and result that you're focusing on. And the outcome or result needs to be the acquiring of something good or the elimination of something bad. That's just really what it boils down to. You're either helping people get rid of something bad or get more of something good. If you can do both, all the better, right? If you can at the same time help a group of people, your target customers, your niche, get rid of something bad and acquire something good, you're going to probably do well. Then that's when the fourth thing comes into play, networking. Now it's time to go network with your knowledge, with your skills, and with your reps under your belt, right? With the reps that you've put in. Because now what will happen is you will have the competence to take advantage of opportunities when they arise. You're not going to be just fluffy in theory land and full of fluff. It reminds me of a little story where some time ago, a friend of mine and I were working on a project that we ultimately put back on the shelf for the time being. But in our initial foray into it and trying to get it off the ground, we were meeting with various people to potentially build out some different technology solutions we needed. And one guy we met with just basically was super energetic, right? Super creative, but he sounded like he was putting together like 4 different books, 2 podcasts, and a blog when he was talking. Like he was just regurgitating and spitting out words. And he was claiming that he could do this whole system that we needed with like host network nodes, etc., and all these different things, all these different things we would need. And I said, well, if you can do it at that scale, why don't we just start at a small scale of just one A through Z system that works? I'll pay you handsomely for it. I'll overpay you for it. And then if that works and we stress test it and we know that it works, then we can add on more. As kind of just like an analogy, if we needed 100 different things built of the same thing with a little, and each time we built another one of those things, it added a layer of complexity. I was telling him just to build one unit of those 100 things we would need and just to see if it could work. And he was so adamantly focused on, no, we got to do the whole thing or nothing. And he said this phrase is like, and he was talking more to my friend than to me because they were the ones that kind of knew each other. And he was saying, man, let's just do this. Let's get this going. We're going to 100x it. And I just started laughing my ass off with my friend in private because I was like, 100x of nothing is still fucking nothing. 100x of 0 is 0 because we're at 0. I found that incredibly hilarious. My point is that sounded like somebody who had a lot of knowledge from books, but very little domain knowledge and no skill-based knowledge. No, I've done that, I've built that type knowledge. Because anybody who claims they can do 100-unit version of what we needed would easily be able to do one unit version, and to get overpaid to do that would be a no-brainer, right? Because you secure money and you secure the relationship and then you secure the opportunity to build the other 99. So to constantly keep pushing away the one to say, let's go for the 100 and write me a bigger check, no. And then to say phrases like 100x. It's 100x when it's at 0. So my point is that if you don't want to sound like an idiot, the only way to avoid sounding like an idiot to people who know what the fuck they're doing and what they're talking about, and they actually are in the trenches, and they are building businesses, and they are doing real things, is that you need to acquire information, and then you need to put in a massive amount of focus on turning that information and knowledge into skills through hard work, through focused work. And again, the only time you can say you have a skill is when you got an outcome or result through hard work of applying your knowledge. Okay? Does that make sense? Once you start having some results, even if it's like basic stuff, like let's say you're going to do marketing or marketing consulting, and you can say, I've built some funnels with some software, even if it's something as basic as ClickFunnels, and I spent $100 of my money to run some ads or whatever it might be, and I generated 5 leads, whatever it might be. Like, that's still an actual skill, because that's now an actual result and an outcome that a lot of people probably don't know how to do. Okay? And I'll tell you this, when you get around people who are potential clients for you, potential referral rainmakers for you, potential, advocates and force multipliers in your life, being very realistic and self-aware and honest about what you've done, where you're at, is going to create a lot of credibility for you. To be able to say, look, I haven't generated thousands of leads, but I've built out this kind of a system. I've done this, and I've generated, 10 leads in the space of a week. I spent this much money, and now I'm looking for an opportunity where I can build this and scale it. I can build on this skill, the knowledge that I have, and work on delivering a result for somebody. That's available. That kind of an opportunity is available to everybody, especially with the internet. The internet has done things for democratizing and providing accessibility to insights and information that wasn't even available when I was 15, 16, 17, 18. It wasn't even close available like it is now. I mean, you can now go just search iTunes for a podcast keyword, for a keyword on you can search podcast on iTunes with this keyword search phrase, and find long-form conversations from true subject matter experts that will break things down for you about whatever it is that you're trying to learn, as subdomain knowledge to turn into a skill. Listen to 3, 4, 5, 6 different podcast episodes from different interviews or speakers. Go apply it, get a result. You'll be ahead of the rest of the pack probably. So that's kind of an off-the-cuff, semi-organized answer to how does one go from square one? No momentum, no network, no resources, no money. How does one just start getting ahead? Acquire knowledge, specifically domain knowledge and subdomain knowledge. Turn that into skill by trying to get a result and an outcome with your knowledge. And the only way you can do that is through focused work and work ethic. And the more focused work and work ethic you put in, the more iterations, and the faster you'll put in iterations of applying your knowledge, rubber meeting the road, to turn into skill. Once you have these three, then you go out and start networking. And you'll very quickly figure out how to network once you've picked a subdomain, aka niche, and you have a skill. Because then you'll just know who you need to get around in order to be able to get the opportunity to help. And that's how you would, that framework-wise, without any specific prescriptions, without 12 little steps, 9 little steps, framework-wise, high level, universally across the board, those are the core 4 pillars that anybody anywhere in the world as an aspiring entrepreneur looking to create financial growth, income, and financial freedom, those are the 4 pillars that you got to build out.